Hello, leaders. I know what you guys are thinking. Why do I still have a mustache? And to answer that question for you guys, I like it. I know that it's probably like me and maybe like two other people that like it, and then like 100 people who don't. But also, Heather hasn't said anything, and she doesn't mind. So, yeah, it's here to stay for a little bit. Okay, really digging it, and it's part of the beauty of being a youth pastor is you can just do whatever you want with your appearance and have absolutely no repercussions on your job. Sometimes it's even a benefit. But this week, the topic I want to cover, and this is going to be a short one, is we've been talking about group culture over and over again. And every video I send you guys is really just focused on this idea of group culture, because I really believe this. You are the pastors of your groups. I mean that. I really believe you guys are pastoring these students, the individual small groups you lead. I get to present messages from a stage and think about the pastor lens from that side. But my job is really to help you guys feel equipped for the task at hand. And so when groups are running well, when you feel recharged, when you feel like you have a clear head on your shoulders, you know what you're doing, you're making impact with your group, that's when I feel like the culture is starting to improve. And I just want to say, I feel a lot of big steps in the culture of our ministry this last few months. Like even just getting to sit back and hear the students all sing together last week, it honestly made me emotional, just getting to hear everyone sing. And so I think we're on a good path with this culture. And I think it starts with you guys and what you're doing in your groups. And so I just want to keep equipping what you're doing there. But this week, really what I want to say, and to kind of make this simple, and this probably goes, I'm going to send this to both middle school and high school leaders, but this probably is a little bit more prevalent for middle school leaders still. But it's this idea that we have to put up with anything a student does, I just think is a false idea. You don't have to get walked all over from a student because it's like, well, you want them to be here and you're glad they're here. And this is something I want to make so clear is I think an unfortunate thing that has happened as a byproduct of cancel culture is that both schools and sometimes youth ministries and other things, anything involving people who oversee children, the leaders in those establishments have felt discouraged in their jobs or tasks recently because at any time that a parent is frustrated, they can just report to an authority figure and then the leader or the person trying to pour into that student gets thrown on the bus. I've seen this happen with, I know some teachers, this happens to them a lot, unfortunately, and this isn't every teacher, but a lot of times if a student or parent gets upset enough at a teacher, the teacher just automatically gets in trouble. And what I want to do is I want you guys to know that I have your back. That's really the biggest thing I want to communicate. I was communicating this to another leader earlier, but you guys know what, and part of the reason I have you guys here is because you know what it takes for your group to be respectful, polite, to pay attention, to get discussion done. And so I encourage you guys, do what you need to create the group to be respectful and kind and do all that stuff. And now I say this again within reason. Please don't scream and shout at students or being like, okay, I'm bringing a ruler every week and we're going to, nothing like that. But I mean, you can have conversations and you can tell students like, hey, I've talked about this over and over again, but specific students where you just go, I really need you to listen and here's why. And if you don't, here are going to be the consequences. And so the reason I say this is because I don't know if I've ever communicated this, but I want you guys to feel the freedom that if you do something towards a student to try and get them in a respectful and kind way to pay attention, and a parent gets upset at that, I will have your back 100% of the time. I will never throw you under the bus and be like, well, we should always make students feel comfortable. And here's a verse I want to share with you to show that this idea is a biblical idea. And then I'll kind of elaborate on this a little bit. This is what Proverbs 22:10 says. It says, drive out a mocker and out goes strife. Quarrels and insults are ended. And it's this powerful proverb about when you remove someone who is not taking things seriously, who just wants to mess around, who wants to make fun of what's happening, who wants to mock what's actually happening, it says that out goes also strife and quarrels and insults are ended. And some of you guys have seen this. There are certain personalities that have left your group and you're like, when they're not there, my group is so much better. I just want to let you know that you don't have to tolerate that week in and week out. And here's where I want to be really careful in saying that. I also don't want us to do the other thing, which is like, you're a mocker, you cause trouble in our group, get out. Because that can do a lot of long-term damage too. So here's what I'm inviting you to do. Identify students that might, and this is not everyone, only a handful of groups actually have these students. Some of you are like, we don't have that at all, and that's great. Or you're like, hey, we have this person, but they only come once a month, if that. Or some of you are like, yeah, we have that person, they come every week. what I want to say, and I want to drive this message home, is you don't have to just put up with them disrupting your group forever. Pull them aside and have an individual conversation with them afterwards. Talk to them after group. But what I really encourage you is identify if that's happening in your group. If it's not, awesome. Like, your group should be thriving then, and that's great. And you just need to learn, like, to set the boundaries at the beginning of your group and tell everyone, like, why we listen and kind of remind that. But if you know, if there's like one or two people that are just constantly causing you troubles, then I want you to identify those people and I want you to tell me about it. Because then what you and I can do is we can have a conversation about how to address that individual in the most loving way that benefits your entire group as well as them. There's conversations that I've had, and I've told you guys about this, is where I've had students and I say, hey, I love that you're a youth group and I want you to keep coming, but I can't have you continue to come with the way you're currently acting. And honestly, I've had that conversation, I think, 7 or 8 times since I've with students here, just in the 2 years that I've been here. And of those, 4 of them have been really good and have led to positive change, and 3 of them, the students have stopped coming. And now I want every student to be here and hear the message of Jesus. So don't hear me saying like, yay, I'm excited to kick students out. That's not it at all. But I understand that if someone seriously is a mocker and they have no intent of changing, when you invite them to say, hey, you can come, but only if you're willing to treat other people with kindness and respect. If not, I can't have you continuing to come here. What you're doing is you're removing the mocker, and it says you're actually bringing back peace. You're getting rid of quarrels and insults and strife. And so there really is a biblical precedent, but I want you guys to hear that you know what it takes to get your group on task. You know what the obstacles in that way are. And I really want to encourage you guys. We've already done this, but I just want to drive this message home because I feel like it's already happening and I want it to continue. If you feel like there's a student who is just like making every week a burden for you, talk to me about it. And we will figure out how to love that student in your group best together, because I want this to be a partnership where you feel complete support from me and understand that I have your back in these situations. So yeah, that's that. Some of you are like, this video wasn't that helpful because our group's awesome, we don't have that. Great, then you can ignore this video, and sorry that I wasted 7 minutes of your time, but I just really wanted to encourage those of you who feel a little bit discouraged about certain personalities in your group that are making things tough. So that's all I got for you today. Enjoy the rest of your days, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.